I want to talk about silver tonight, guys, because I'll tell you honestly, I don't think there's an awful lot of time left to actually get in on some of this cheap silver. And I say cheap silver when you see what's going to happen to silver, and I'm going to give you the reasons why. I'm not just going to tell you, say, okay, go out there and get silver, without listing and telling you exactly, and that's what this show is going to be about, the reasons why silver is such a remarkable investment opportunity in my consideration. Now, this is not financial advice, but I'm going to tell you what, I don't think this opportunity is going to come along again like we've got. And you can thank certain people for making this opportunity for us, like JP Morgan Bank, who's accumulated, and they want to make a lot of money themselves in the silver. Now, let me explain to you and start getting into the show and start to explain why silver is so good. One of the reasons why is the world has limited supplies of silver. It's not unlimited. And it's an industrial metal. We use it in an awful lot of industrial applications, right down to when you put your socks on in the morning. There's silver in those socks. They use it for to kill microbial life in your socks. They use a small amount of silver. It's used in the solar industry extremely extensively. I don't think the solar industry is going to do as well as it has been doing, but it's used through industry in many, many, many different applications. Everything from solder, from your electronic equipment, things like your cell phone. Every cell phone has silver in it. They can't make a cell phone without silver unless they use gold, and I mean, let's face it, it's much cheaper to use silver, so they're going to continue using silver. Now, what they've done is, they've went all over the earth, and they've scoured the earth for silver deposits. The best, easiest, low fruit, the easiest silver deposits to get the ore out of the ground with the most silver per ton, they've already mined. Now, ore grades are dropping off, and there's less silver per ton, and there's going to continue to be less silver per ton as these mines move into decline. So, that's not all. And that's a big important issue, the fact that they're getting less silver per ton and energy costs are going up. That's a huge issue. Do not dismiss that quickly, what I just said. It's a huge issue, and it's a huge plus to the price of silver. Mining production costs all in right now for an ounce of silver is between $14 and $16. Now, some mines out there say, well, we can mine it for $9. And this is not altogether true. They're misleading. And one of the reasons why they're misleading some of these mines is they want to get investors to sell shares. So they'll mislead people into thinking that the mine costs, all-in cost of production is less than what it actually is. But what they're not accounting in an awful lot of parts and pieces to that. What they're doing is they're just giving you the cost to get the silver into a rough ingot. So when they produce silver, they mine the silver out of the ground, they crush the rock that the silver's in. They run it through big rock crushers. And they have to crush it down finer and finer and finer. And then they have to actually turn the stuff into a powder or a slurry. And then they have these big slurry pots. And they like stir the slurry and they add chemicals to it and stuff to separate the silver from it. And then they have to run it through smelters and stuff. And the final stages of the smelting process, to get it down until it's a bar of ore that they've melted down into an ingot. And this ingot is not 999 pure. It's just basically a bar of silver that's like maybe, I don't know, maybe 93% or something, 94% or something. It has to be resmelted again and again and again to get it down to that 99.99. So what we're talking here, it's got other trace metals in it still in this bar. It's got maybe a little bit of copper in it, a little bit of nickel in it, a little bit of palladium, a little bit of this and that and everything else, even a little bit of gold in it. So they have to resmelt it a number of times to get it down to that purity level of 999. What they're giving you the cost as is the bar in its form and that to that point. And they say like $9 an ounce. That's not getting it into an eagle. When you buy it as an eagle, they're not figuring the cost to get it to an eagle, even to get it to the place where they sell it, where the merchant sells it. It's not figured into that like $9 price or whatever. So when they start adding in things like future exploration, like how are they going to get more silver? They're only figuring in that cost just to get, not even to get it into an eagle, the form of an eagle, if you're going to buy an eagle. They're not figuring in future exploration. They're not figuring in a whole bunch of other costs that they're not figured in. So the all-in production costs, I mean, you're starting to get it up there, way up to nearly the price that they're charging for spot. And the reason for that is these guys, these crooks, who have been manipulating the price downwards, have been careful just to leave a marginal, very small margin for profit for the miners, because they know if they go too low, that the miners are going to quit mining and the silver is going to go into a shortage. Simply put, a shortage. And they know if that happens, then their game that they're playing right now with shorting, using paper short contracts to short the market and drive the price down. And this is the game they've been playing all along. That'll come to an end if they run out of physical, if there's an actual physical shortage. So they have to keep supplying these companies like ATMEX and Kitco and all these different companies that sell silver. They have to keep supplying them with silver enough so that when you go in, you have available supply. And they don't like doing that. But by suppressing the price down as long and as hard as they have, they've made silver into a pariah. It's a Jonah of commodities. People are scared of it now at this point. They're scared to buy it. They're scared that the price is going to go down lower and blah, blah, blah. And so they're actually selling, a lot of them are actually selling their silver back into the market. And that silver is actually being melted back down, and it keeps this game going for the bankers. It helps the bankers to keep this game going a little bit longer. This silver is being sold back in. And so people are selling their junk silver too, and they're a little bit scared of silver right now. It's unwanted and it's unloved. So now that being said, what about the gold to silver ratio? And this is where we get into some territory that an awful lot of people don't know much about. And they have a lot of confusion. They think that there's tons of silver out there. There's all kinds of silver. And they think that gold's more rare, that there's less gold out there. And this is why the price of gold is higher. And it'll always be higher. Now, you've probably heard a lot of this stuff before. Right now, this is almost a record for how high gold is compared to silver. It's like ridiculously exaggerated, the gold to silver ratio right now. It hasn't been this, whenever it gets to this point in history, other times it's done this before, but it doesn't last long. It's a very skewed ratio. And what this basically means is it means silver is going to be a fantastic buy. And the reason why silver is going to be a fantastic buy is we're going to go back to a more normal gold to silver ratio. And this means that silver is going to be a little bit more of a mover when it finally breaks free, and when gold breaks free, silver is actually going to be a little bit more of a mover than gold to go back to the ratio. So it means your profit. Now, you're going to do wonderful with gold. Gold's going to take off at a certain point. It's going to do wonderfully well. Supreme, wonderful investment. But silver's going to even outstrip it. Silver's going to be the king of investments. There's another thing you got to consider with silver. Unlike cryptocurrency. Say you go out and say you buy some cryptocurrency, right? Well, I mean, okay, I've had a lot of experience with cryptocurrency. You go out and you buy some cryptocurrency, and you're all so proud of yourself, you know. You got your new wallet, your new I don't know what kind of wallet you might get. You might get a there's a number. You might get an Exodus wallet or a Jax wallet or a you might get a well, there's quite a few different wallets out there. And so I've had two different wallets lock up on me, lock up my password, and they just basically, you enter your password and it says the wallet doesn't recognize that password. And you're kind of frigged. You're messed up. You're messed up big time. You can't get in your own wallet. What if the internet goes down too with cryptocurrency? And can you really hold a cryptocurrency? I know it says you own this on your computer. It says, oh, blah, 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 you own this on your computer. But if I can't see it and I can't really actually hold it in my hand, somehow I just feel cheated. I feel like I don't really own something unless I can actually hold it right in my hand and feel like I actually own it. I don't know, maybe I'm old school on my way of thinking, but somehow it just feels better to me if I have something that I can hold in my hand. And physical silver, you can actually hold it in your possession, in your hand. If the internet goes off, it's still there in your hand. You got to consider that. So don't put all your money in cryptocurrency because I mean, it just doesn't feel quite right having all your money in cryptocurrency. You know, you guys must know what I mean, right? I say have both because I think cryptocurrencies are going to do fantastically well, but I think we got buying opportunities coming up in cryptocurrencies. But I think the buying opportunity in silver is here and it's here now. I think this is it, right? And I think that silver is probably a very safe place, fairly reasonably safe place to put your money is in physical silver right now because I only think there's really not too much room on the downside because it's very limited in quantities. Now let's get to limited in quantities. Let's talk about that for a minute. Do you know there's far more gold on Earth stored away in vaults than the entire supply of silver? Many times more gold stored away in vaults than the price of silver. So why should the price of gold be maintaining prices so many times higher than silver? Well, one of the reasons why is the historical ratio that silver comes out of the ground. There is actually more silver in the ground than there is gold. And there's like 9 times as much. But you got to understand that they've dug so much silver out of the ground, they've needed so much silver, that at this point, that ratio of 9 to 1, it used to be like 14 to 1, and now it's dropped down to 9 to 1. I can see it going 8 to 1, 7 to 1, 6 to 1 as they dig it out of the ground, and they're chasing after the silver, and gold is like, the price is not going to move up as fast as silver because we're using the silver up on the earth so fast, we're going to create a rarity of it. We are actually consuming it so fast, the mines are not going to be able to keep up at a certain point. And they're not going to find massive new reserves someplace, like they've scoured the earth now at this point. It's kind of like when you go through your house. Say your house was really dirty, and say some filthy guys come in and they tracked a lot of mud through your house. Well, say you went through with your first sweeping and you swept the house. You would get an awful lot more dirt that first time around than you would if you went through and you swept it a second time. So the first time you go through and you sweep up all the mud they tracked on the floor, you might get a whole bucket full of mud to carry out. The second time, you're lucky if you get a cup full. You're lucky if you get 1/10 as much. And this is what they're doing with the silver. They're going through the first time. They're just about all the way through with the first time. The second time they go back through, you know they're not going to get near as much. It's going to be way declining. Now they got all this gold stored away. Tons and tons and tons more gold stored away than silver. I can see this whole thing flipping and the gold to silver ratio going a massive change in the gold and silver ratio. Instead of like where it is now, it's like, what is it, 75, 80 to 1 or something like that? Something ridiculous. It's probably going to go back more like 20 to 1. But do you really believe that the gold price is going to be where it is right now when silver goes to 20 to 1? Then you're kidding yourself. Because the gold price is going to shoot upwards probably to $5,000, and we're probably going to go to a 20 to 1 ratio, gold to silver. You know? And so you're going to be looking at massive upticks in the price of silver. And when that happens, this is going to be a self-feeding, self-perpetuating cycle. Silver's going to start to be a winner. Everybody wants to buy in on a winner. Nobody wants to buy in on a loser. Nobody wants to back a loser. Silver's the big loser right now. J.P. Morgan's made it the big loser, but he knows. He knows it's going to be the big winner, and he's storing it away for himself. So what are you guys doing? You sitting on your butt? Because you're going to be caught out, because when this thing goes up, it's going to go up massively, and when it's going to go up is when the fear hits. And I'll tell you what, the fear is coming, probably later on this year. So you're not going to have a long time to wait at this point. I mean, look at it this way. A lot of you silver guys, and I'm one included, I love silver, have waited and waited and waited for these price moves to move upwards, and you're getting tired of waiting. I understand that. I'm getting tired of it. I mean, I'm getting so sick of it. Every time it goes up a little bit, it gets smacked back down again. Now, this latest one just happened Friday. And I expected it to make it up to the 1720 mark. It hit that 1720 mark, exactly where I expected. And what did I say? I said the longer it can hold at this 1720 mark, the more likely it's going to stay up at the 1720 mark. I was very tentative about thinking it was going to stay at the 1720 mark. But I also think that it's just a matter of time. It's going to go back to the 1720 mark. It's probably not going to take too long, because this smackdown, I don't know what it costs them and how much paper they had to create to cause it to happen. But eventually, this game is going to wear thin. There's going to be a failure to deliver. And there's going to be a massive rush in, and when they discover that there's not enough physical to go around, there's going to be a panic, especially on the part of these companies that need silver in the production of different things like cell phones and stuff. They're going to just panic, and they're going to want to buy awesomely big amounts of silver. I mean, can you imagine the iPhone line saying, okay, we're not going to be able to make any iPhones today because we haven't got any silver, and we can't obtain any. Well, when they can obtain some, they're going to go out and they're going to buy 1,000-ounce bars, because that's what they buy. And they're going to buy way more, a huge inventory of it they're going to want. Now, when you consider what a small, tight market silver is and how limited the supply is, you get some of these big companies like, say, Apple, with their iPhones and stuff, and they say, hey, we're not going to have this happen again. We had to shut down our line because we didn't have enough silver. We're going to take care of business this time. They're going to hire a vaulting company, and they're going to come in, and they're going to buy one amazing big amount of silver, and they don't care what the price is at that point. If the prices went up tenfold, they don't care. They don't care, because it cost 60 cents before for amount of silver in an iPhone, right? And that's what it costs now. Say it goes up tenfold. That's still only $6. They don't care. They're just going to pass that $6 cost on to the consumer. So the iPhone last year was $950. Next year it'll be $956. It just makes sense for them. They're just going to pass that cost on to the consumer. The consumer, he don't care. He's not going to buy his iPhone because it went up $5 or $10 even. Like it went from $950 to $960. Like he's not going to buy his new iPhone just because it went up $10. I'll tell you why they're not going to buy. Okay, it's a little bit different subject right now, but I'll tell you why iPhone sales are going to drop off a cliff. I believe they're going to drop off a cliff is because everybody's saturated with phones now. They got phones up their backside. They got phones everywhere. They got phones in their hair, phones in their phone. They got a phone in the car. They got a phone in the house. They got a phone in the toilet. They got everywhere you go. They got a cell phone in their house, and they got their old cell phones stuck in the bookcase. You know, they got probably 6 old cell phones that they had before that they're not using anymore, or they might trade them in for their newest cell phone. But there's cell phones galore. Anyway, that's why they make videos here on YouTube of them burning cell phones, cutting cell phones in half, doing all kinds of silly things to their old cell phones. Anyway, thank you guys for listening. Like and subscribe, and we'll catch you guys in the very next show very soon. Bye-bye.